I'll cry if I watch her in the light. My reflection never smiles. Watch my eyes out glasses on. Don't know what I'm hiding from. I just know it comes at dawn. 'Cause everything's pretty at midnight. Visions fly, bodies tight. Messy white, flashing light. Everything's darker.
Yo, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at like a bit of an issue that it's a bit of future proofing, I think, really, but you can apply this to kind of any car. It is in relation to how hot your engine gets. Now with modified cars, especially a modified turbo diesel, my engine gets hot, and I mean hot.
Okay, let's go.
A good way of stopping this from happening is what we're going to be looking at in today's video. Now, you can do this on any car. I'm sure there's multiple different brands and variations for what we're going to be doing in today's video. Without further ado, let's get to the garage and I'll talk about what we're actually doing. Now, what I'm doing isn't going to fix your car if it's got a blown head gasket and it's overheating in that aspect whatsoever. This is more if you have a modified car, it's running higher power and it's got more pressure and heat coming out the turbo, going through the engine. What is in this box may potentially help you. Hopefully it will help me. In this box is what is commonly known as a thermostat. That is a thermostat. This usually sits within your engine block, and as your car starts to warm up, there's wax in there which will slowly open a valve which will allow coolant to flow around the rest of your engine, keeping it cooler. This thermostat in particular is a lower temperature thermostat. This car, the Fabia VRS, was made in other countries, hotter countries. They had these types of thermostats which had softer wax within them, so they open up at an earlier rate. That means your engine stays cooler. So as you can imagine, this country with skies that look that colour is not a hot country, but this engine, which is running a lot more power than factory, does get hot. So for having a thermostat that's going to open up earlier and allowing coolant to flow around the engine quicker is going to help out hopefully quite a lot. Now my tuner, Josh at Troubleshooting, he recommended doing this straight away, and I didn't. I've been around the Nürburgring, I've done track days and all sorts with the standard thermostat in it, which is probably a stupid idea. So we're going to get this fitted today. Hopefully it might make an improvement and allow my engine to stay cool for longer. It might not, I don't really know, but if Josh the tuner is saying you got to do it, he knows a lot more about this engine than I do, so I think it's probably a good idea. Now what we need to get to is what is in there. So that housing there with the bolt, which is this big pipe in here, that thermostat sits in there. So there's a bolt on the top and there's a bolt on the bottom. So we need to pull that out. Once, there you go, focus. So once that's off, the thermostat sits in the engine block and we can get it out. So I think the first step is just gonna go get the socket, start on doing these bolts. You can take this hose off, which can make your life a bit easier, but I think last time I done this, I just left it on, so I'll probably just do that. First step, what I'm going to want to do is drain the coolant that's already in here. I've got brand new coolant. We've got some Quantum. Now, I was just about to I just undone one of the bolts on that, and I realised, hang on, the coolant's going to go everywhere if I undo that. On the bottom of a PD 130, at the radiator on the bottom hose, which is on the near side, at the bottom there's a little tap, and you can undo that, you can drain it all out. So I'm literally going to reach my hand up. You can reach your hand under and feel it, and it's just right there. You can feel it's a little tap. So I'm literally just going to try and do that. I'm going to let it go on the floor. It doesn't matter. It's only coolant. It's just water, isn't it? So. There's a hell of a lot of pressure that just came out of there. It literally just shot out. Crazy. So if you see here, that level's kind of slowly going down. I'm going to just undo the cap to release all the pressure. So that's really going down quick now. And you can hear it and see it. Just drain out there. Drain, it'll probably take literally 20-30 seconds for all that to drain out. Now, when I take this hose off, it's not going to come flying out all over my hands. Well, even though that just did a little bit anyway. But yeah, let's wait for that to drain and we'll get on with it.
And hide you in my treasure chest. I don't know what to do with your kiss on my neck. I don't know what feels true. With this feel.
Very quickly just ran to grab the camera because I popped it off and yet loads of coolant came flying out anyway, so me draining it didn't really make a difference. I mean, it makes perfect sense because all the coolant that was stuck inside the engine block with the thermostat shut is obviously going to be stuck in there. See, I'm an idiot. But anyway, that is now cracked loose, so I'm going to just pull that out. I did end up taking this coolant hose here off of it. You really can't see anything going on. I'm just going to get it out and show you. So this is the old one that's just come out. Little seal ring here for it. This one I did get from TPS. It is a genuine one that I replaced about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Really, I can tell when you try to push that top bit down, that is a lot stiffer. When you press that down, it's really easy. And that just goes to show they are, as far as I can see, pretty much identical, which is good because sometimes with thermostats you order them and they're wrong. This is quite nice that it's literally spot on. Without further ado, we're going to get it back in the engine.
And relax and live the journey created in your heart. It's not easy, but that's why we get reward. Pull through the tough times, that's what makes you want it more. If life was bliss, you wouldn't miss, you'd always score. That sounds appealing, but wouldn't we just get bored? Like, what's the point in having sunshine every day when half the life on earth is living life because of rain? Let that last thing I just said sink in your brain. Sometimes the beautiful in life will always come from pain.
I'm just struggling a little bit with the little clip that holds the hose on in there, because the clip's gone really wide now because the clip's got no pressure on it, so it's returned back to full size. So because of that, the pliers I was using earlier, the yellow ones, aren't getting on there anymore. Just trying to see, I've got some big Nipex ones, I'm just going to see if they can get on there. Right, so this is the little flipping thing that was being a pain. I've basically had to squeeze it with my fingers to get it off, and it hurt. It's pretty sharp. Anyway, what I am going to do is get it on the hose this time. When it's on the hose, then just use a bit of muscle if I have any. And just push it on, because I think that's going to be easier than trying to faff around with that again, because that was a nightmare. With a lot of fiddling, it is in. It was a pain in my arse, but it's done. I'm going to turn that little tap off down the bottom rad, and we're going to start topping the coolant up. On a PD, you don't have to pressure bleed them or anything silly like that. It has a self-bleeding cooling system, so all you really want to do is top it up. As soon as it tops up, you want to run the car, and it's going to slowly go down and down and down. You're going to keep topping it up and up and up, and yeah, it has a little valve that will pressure bleed it. I don't really know how it works, but we're going to do that.
One eternity later.
Right, so hopefully that is going to slowly work its way down. What I am going to do, I'm going to let that settle by itself as much as it will go, and then when it stops, I'll run the car and we just keep topping it up as it's running. As you can see, it's sitting at this level, it's not going down anymore. I've topped it up once, it went to about down there, topped it up to about here, and it's kind of made its way to this point where it's not going down anymore. So what we're going to do, we're going to run the engine, and that should start slowly making its way down whilst the engine's running. Let's have a look. Could turn the fans all the way on. So the level kept going down and down and down, and I actually got a bit worried that I haven't done that tight, done the housing up tight enough, and it was leaking. checked it and it feels like there's water around there, but obviously I spilled loads of water anyway, so I'm not really too sure. And I've turned the car off and it's still going down, so I've looked under the car. And can you see? I don't know, you can kind of see, it's dripping down the back of the engine. Now, I don't think there's any coolant lines that run down the back of the engine. I'm frantically running around trying to find something, but I literally can't see anything from up here, so I'm gonna have to jack the car up. But for some reason, there's coolant leaking out somewhere. But I don't think it's from anything that I've touched. So I'm really confused. See, I'll have to get back to you guys in a bit. I'm not about to find out where this leak's coming from. So as you may have seen in the last clip, it was leaking. Basically seemed as if all the coolant was leaking out the bottom bit of the thermostat housing, so it wasn't done up properly. It felt tight. I must have obviously not have done it up correctly. I have now taken it all back out, cleaned it all. I've checked that it is on there flush. It is on there flush. The seal's good. Everything is good. So I'm basically just gonna have to try again. I am praying and hoping, because I've only got a tiny bit of coolant left, so I'm probably gonna have to top this up, run to the nearest Euros and or water or whatever, and then have to bleed the coolant again at another date, because yeah, this has not gone to plan as usual. It never goes to plan. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get it all back together, and I'll give you guys another update soon. Up as tight as I can. They are very tight now. Only thing is, down on the right hand side of it, there's a very small gap which just doesn't look right in my eyes. Round this edge, like, you can fit a fingernail in, which just in my head isn't right. On the top and the bottom, it's completely flush, like completely flush. It's just round that one edge there's a gap. Doesn't make sense in my head. Mega tight. I do vaguely remember it being like that last time. This is a seal is in there. It's tight. It's sealed. I guess maybe because there's only a bolt top and bottom. There isn't 4 bolts, so it is only going to put pressure on the top and bottom. So it makes sense for there to kind of be a little gap either side, but still it isn't right. I've run out of coolant as well, so I've topped it up, but it's gone down. So I'm going to have to go top it up with water for the rest of it and just live like that for a little bit until I can get more coolant and then drain it and refill it and do all that again. So I'm gonna get some water, fill it up, and just literally pray to high heavens it doesn't leak, because if it does, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Not good if it leaks. We've got supplies. We've got milk carton with water. We've also got a watering can. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to fill this up with water for the time being, run it, and basically just pray for my life it's not leaking anymore, because I can drive the car with a little bit of water in here. It's not really a problem, but it's I don't want to leave it like that. I want to have it mainly obviously coolant. So as long as this will get me by, then I can get some coolant, drain it out the plug at the bottom again, and do all this, and I won't need to touch the thermostat. But I'm just praying that's going to hold up. I mean, I don't really know why it was leaking. It's never leaked before when I've done this. Yeah, let me get this topped up and we'll touch bases. I don't know how well you can see in here, but yeah, there you go. That's the gap I was on about on the right. It's literally just running out. So yeah, boys, job is fucked. Right. If you're finding this funny, then that only calls for one thing. Press that subscribe button. We're nearly at that magic 1,000 subscribers. So if you can smash that button, I'd really appreciate it. And it would stop this little fella on screen coming to get you. So please press that button. Thanks, bye. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to take it all back off. I think what I'm going to want to do is take it all back off, put the original seal in, or even just the original thermostat, put it back together and call it a day, because this is, I don't know what to, I think it's got to be that seal. The new seal's got to be too big and it's not letting it push together. But that's what I'm going to have to do. It's an absolute nightmare. I just want to pull my hair out and die right now. Right, I may have potentially found the problem. Beforehand, I was putting the seal in the hole and then putting this in. but I think it's because the seal has to wrap around within the little gap between the thermostat and this housing. That makes more sense actually, because before the seal would have been just pushing on this top metal lip as that went into the block, whereas this seal's round the edge, so it gives it a bit more oomph when you put it in. So that makes a bit more sense to me. So I'm going to put this in now again. Luckily I've got my mate Tom on the way with some Halford's coolant just to get me by. But yeah, whack it back in like this and just see if that helps. Cavalry has arrived. Thank God for this guy, mate. Where I've done for. You come to bail me out, mate. Datio. There is now no gap around that side where I put the seal in. I'm going to double check it's all very tight. Not very tight, but tight enough. And top it up with some Halford's own. Because that's all I got, so yeah. We let it ran with the cap off. It's sitting just there, which is pretty much bang on. Not leaked, it's not gone anywhere. So yeah, basically, I didn't put the seal in right. What an absolute dimwit. But it's now all good, so I'm going to check my oil, whack it all back together, call it a day. Right, I'm driving back, and we've got a big problemo. I think it's just where it's still bleeding into the system. I think maybe it's just because now I've driven it, the level's dropped quite a lot. But yeah, it's like screaming at me and the lights on, so let's have a quick look. Yeah, so it's dropped quite a lot. I think it's just where it's still bleeding into the system, because earlier the engine got pretty much to temp, but I think when you drive it, it's obviously going to push all the air bubbles out. So right, let's top her up. I have actually gone a little bit more just to compensate in case it goes down more, which it probably will. I mean, I don't think it's leaking. I think it genuinely is just where it's kind of doing this self-bleeding thing. It's pushed all the air bubbles out, because now it's actually got to temperature. It's obviously gone down into the radiator. But yeah, hello Haskins, get up. We are now 2 days on since the last video. We did make it back. It wasn't leaking. It just needed to bleed its way through the system and all that. But it's absolutely spot on. I've not had a problem since. If you do find it funny watching me mess my cars up week in, week out trying to fix them, then please like this video and please subscribe. Because like I said, we're so close to 1,000 subs, and that'll be so sick if we can make that happen. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and we'll see you later. Bye.
I am the light, ugly truth, cannot hide. So bizarre, on my mind.